Yeah.
Because
he
doesn't know how much of an impact that made on me.
Yeah.
But like just him giving me like 2 minutes of his time just to like speak to me, and he was like nice.
Do you know
so
what?
he was probably my biggest one.
Hello and welcome to the UK Surf Show. We are your hosts. I'm Pete.
I'm Mitch.
I'm Alan.
And I'm Logan.
There you going.
Nailed
It's a bit different, isn't
Took
it?
that one seriously.
Yeah, taking one very seriously. So we are at the Wave. We're in a tent. Is it a tent?
It's a
Lovely
TP /
tent.
which TP which you can't have a PP in, turns out.
No.
After a certain time.
Yeah.
There's a sign
You
that
do
says
TP,
so.
which kind of
but you can't do poo.
Pretty fancy
Yeah.
tent.
Oh, I can't do poopies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty nice actually. I could quite happily live in this. It's already better than my house. So just watched a session with Mitch and Alan and Logan. And Logan, tell us a bit about yourself.
So my name's Logan, 22 years old. I'm from Cardiff, South Wales. And yeah, I just surf and compete and work at a surf school.
Been trained by anyone good lately?
Oh, yeah, this one guy bugs me a bit to get my sessions done. So yeah, training with Alan, right next to me. Yeah.
Back by popular demand.
You were desperate to say that.
Oh, yeah.
We had a whole conversation about that in the car.
His wife's been on the phone to me for months asking. "Please,
Overwhelming.
Alan, back."
Overwhelming. Public
Get him
demand.
away.
Yeah. So when did you start surfing?
I was 10, actually. My dad got me into it.
Yeah.
Just in, well, actually, where I work now, at the same beach I work at in Porthcawl. But he bought a board the day, I think it was like a few days before my 10th birthday or like my 11th birthday, I don't know. And bought a board, went down to the beach at like 9 at night, and we like swapped the board. So like he'd go out, I'd stand on the beach, watch him, then he'd come in, swap with me, and that was my first board, was that board. And then the next weekend, because I could only go on the weekends because I live quite far from the beach, I cried because he wouldn't take me. Yeah, I was like crying because he wouldn't take, and that's when I knew I was addicted.
So what you've basically just told me is for your 11th birthday, your dad bought himself a surf.
yeah, literally.
It's like when a husband buys their wife a 10-pin bowling ball, writes Homer on the side of it. Got your bowling ball.
Yeah, so that's how I got into surf.
So 11 years, 12 years surfing now.
Yeah, about 12 years now.
Have you still got that board?
Do you know what? Shamelessly, we sold it to my neighbour. It was like a wood, it's almost like a veneer wood called Bad Nun. It wasn't a very good brand or anything. It was 6'2". Good board. And I think my next door neighbour's got it, so it's close by.
But with more money in your hand.
Yeah, it wasn't
Sell out.
Yeah, not the first board I ever surfed. My dad actually, he shaped a couple boards. And we always had them in the house. So the first board I actually ever surfed, I was younger and I hated it. I used to hate surfing. And it was one of those. So we've still got those boards. So I guess I kind of have the first board I ever surfed. But my first actual board that I loved, we sold.
So far we've got your dad bought himself a board for your birthday. And he's a shit shaper.
yeah.
And everyone's profiteering.
Exactly.
So if you want to use this podcast to talk about your father issues, we'll start from the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and he doesn't surf anymore, really. So
there you go.
Exactly.
How well did he surf when he did?
Pretty good. Like, I mean, he gets back in the water now, and like, no offense, boys, but he was like going along the way. He goes along the waves, and
he actually catches them. That's what you're trying to say. He also, just for everyone, he looked at Alan when he said that, not me.
Wow. 4 good ones in the last session. So
yeah, no one's counting though, are they?
well, I'm definitely counting.
To be fair, mate, from the first time you surfed here, and I saw your feet more than your head actually that time.
That's improvement.
Yeah,
that's a massive
improvement. Today you look much better on the wave actually.
Thanks very much.
That's
That's coming from you.
I know. That's a compliment.
Yeah.
They come rarely, so take them when you get them.
Enjoy
I
it.
was really shocked when I came out and you were very nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
I wouldn't trust that. There's something going on there.
I think it was
I did
improvement.
wonder, is there some kind of ulterior motive to this niceness? But no, I think maybe you've changed.
Maybe.
It's a bandana, mate.
It might be.
You'd rather rock
I've got to wear it now because my hair gets in my eyes, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's bugging the shit out of my wife, so I'm not cutting it.
What did you say when Pete turned up? You were like,
Glastonbury's that way, mate.
Woodstock's finished, mate.
Yeah.
Just arrived from the 1970s.
His horse is parked outside.
Like, my mum told me I look cool, so I'm fine with that.
You're rocking it, mate.
Yeah. So, surfing then, long distance to travel, so surfing weekends. So when did it become apparent that you were properly addicted?
Oh, literally, like I said, like crying literally the next weekend I couldn't go. So I had some my neighbours, they're crazy, but they got into it, luckily for me. So after school some days they would take me, but it was often just begging my parents on the weekend. I'm about 45 minutes away from like where I work, which is the beach I surf at all the time. So just beg them to take me. And then I used to get the train to the Gower, so that was like an hour and a half. I'd get that after school when I was a little bit older. Like a lot. I used to do that a lot. And my friend would pick me up. I'd be like begging the man on the train to like let me on my board. Because for some reason they have a rule where you're not allowed to take your board on a train. Oh, really? So there'd be people on there with bikes and stuff. And I was like, please, like I'll buy another ticket for my board. Please, I just want to go surfing. People on there drinking cans of Stella. They don't say anything to them. The little boy with a board. So I used to do that, and then I got a car, and it just, like, everyone who gets their first car just changes everything, doesn't it? So,
totally. You know, your first session as well, that first time you surfed, how did you pick it up, like, that day? Was it quite natural?
It's hard for me, because I had kind of surfed before. Like, I knew, like, what surfing was about. It wasn't like I just went down and didn't really know anything about it. Like, my dad surfed, and he'd taken me before. But that was the one where I was old enough. I didn't get cold. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I was little, I used to get cold. And so I could, like, do a pop-up and, like, in my head, my first session, I'm pretty sure I was like, it was like 1 foot, but really clean. Yeah. So I was on like unbroken-ish kind of waves, like just going straight, but I could kind of do it. So in my head, I was ripping my first session. I don't think I was, but I loved it. I was like fully. It just took that session, and I was addicted.
The thing is, I've got no doubt in my head that first wave you had was probably better than all the waves I had today. 2 sections of the wave. I've got no doubt that's true.
Yeah, it's one of those moments in life.
Quiet. Yeah, I was staying quiet. I was sitting background. Yeah. Sticking out of the,
Did you not hear me whooping and hollering?
Oh,
you're not out yet. I caught an amazing right. I went along it and everything.
Yeah, you boys were doing a lot better on the right than the left. To be fair.
You were doing an up in the air, turny, roundy, spinny thing, and I was like, I don't even know what that's called, but it looks pretty fancy.
I'm just saying, I didn't complete it though.
No, incomplete. Exactly. I was going to be
panicky. It looked insane. There was a point we both said we were like 4 meters behind the wave you took off on, and the spray we got, it was like I just walked through an car wash. Nuts.
Although, speaking of spray,
Alan got sprayed today.
Oh, don't embarrass me.
It was
he did
very impressive. I was like, whoa! I screamed, and then I just heard him go, ah, and then he fell off the back.
Yeah,
but
so
there
was it as I was falling off? Because that doesn't really.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't a
splash.
It wasn't a
splash. Yeah. It was my body splashing into the water.
I promise it wasn't.
Yeah.
You fully threw spray. I thought, wow, amazing.
There was a noise and everything for the spray.
So.
I made that noise, yeah.
It's like having a lightsaber, isn't it? So you've surfed competitions. How long have you been surfing competitions now for?
So I actually did my first contest on a board my dad made when I was 11, I want to say. Like the first year.
Sold?
No, we still have it. We've lent it to a friend, but it's like a bit of an iconic board. Like I had sprays on my boards that were the same spray. So I did my first contest when I was 10. And I was like just lost straight away. I was just not very good. But I loved it. Like, I don't know, I just was like a bit deluded that I was like way better than I was. So I just stuck at it and I was like, oh, I'm going to be amazing at this. And I just was like a kid from Cardiff against these kids who live at the beach. I just did that was the Welsh Nationals, was my first ever contest. So I just did that every single year. Never did well as a junior, never made a final as a junior. And then, I just kept at it basically. And here today. Still trying.
Like, because we've spoken to people before about competing, and they've said like it's a difficult thing to get into and fund. Have you found it easy? Have you found everyone really helpful, or has it been a self-discovery?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, obviously, I got them like really. Everyone around me who's like close to me is very supportive of me, so that's probably what's kept me going. I'd say like the structure probably isn't quite there. It's a very like young sport, especially in the UK. Yeah. So I don't blame any individual for like the fact that maybe like could have had more support, and like it would have been easy for me to drop out of surfing, and then it was sound like a dick saying it, but it was a lot because of I loved it. Yeah. That's why I stuck at it. It wasn't because I was getting loads of funding or anything like that. Yeah. But I think if you love something, you just do it. Like, it didn't really matter that I wasn't going to get money for it or whatever.
I think it's so important, though, to be supported. Like, supporting that young talent is everything, because that's the future. And
it's massive.
I think I've said this before, but, if you go to a beach and you see somebody that's there landing airs, and you're like, oh, do you know what? I'm going to try that as a Grom.
Yeah.
I think that's what pushes ability for everyone.
Yeah.
So to get the support, I think, on every structural level that matters and recognise that talent and push it forward, I don't think there's anything more important in that in our sport.
100%.
I think since I started working more in surfing, it's become apparent just how much talent we do have. And yeah, the support is coming, but it's not quite where it needs to be yet. That's no one's fault, really. It's an evolving sport. It's now an Olympic sport. But I mean, probably one of the reasons I wanted Logan to come on the podcast was there's probably a bit of an illusion about pro surfers and, you know, having a bit of a cushy deal and maybe being arrogant because they're so good, like so good to watch.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to dispel that, really, because like these guys work their nuts off.
Yeah.
They work so hard. You know, Luke, Lucy, everyone I've met works really hard. And, you know, during the week they're in full-time jobs. You know, Pat's like shifting sofas around with his dad.
Yeah.
You're in a surf school. Luke's doing carpentry and all sorts of stuff. And they're going out and competing in the QS against people who are fully sponsored, you know, by the Red Bulls or maybe by their federations. And we've absolutely got the talent in this country with people like Logan and Pat and Luke and others. And at the moment, it's supported by people that are just
volunteering.
Yeah,
basically,
which is fine. Again, like that's in a few years that it'll be different.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of held together by people that are. For me now, this is a bit of a passion project because I'm like, there's some serious talent here, and it needs to be supported. And there's a few others like that. There's another S&C called Ben who's quite involved. There's obviously some really good coaches knocking around as well.
Yeah.
So like the future looks really bright.
Yeah.
And we just need to make sure, like you mentioned earlier, about you could have dropped out of the sport.
Oh, easy.
That's a tragedy, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, for someone,
100% it is, yeah.
You know, so we just need to do everything we can to make sure that doesn't happen.
There's a lot of people I know that have, you know, like they have dropped out of the sport. And like, I don't want any. I really try not to complain too much. Like, I'll tell people a straight answer if they ask me if I'm getting supported by my federation. But I try not to get people to play the violin for me and stuff, because at the end of the day, like, it is an amazing thing. Like, I'm just going surfing and some companies want to pay me to do it. But like, sometimes I do think, like, is there any chance we're going to get a little bit of like help or like anything? And there's people like Alan who, like, literally off his own back just called me, like, and was like, I'd like to help you. And that's amazing, because I was just going to the gym myself, just doing, you know, whatever. And it takes people like that, and like, that's the thing. It's just amazing people who like want to step up to help surfing, who are passionate.
I also think you need to be shown that path.
For sure.
You might know you need support, but you don't know what that looks like and what format. You know, I think the pathways are so important. The first time I realised about, you know, exactly like you said, Alan, people, I guess, have got a perception of what a UK pro surfer or a pro surfer, what their life looks like. And honestly, I was super humbled when you turned up today, when I met you in your limo and you told me I had to carry your bags and your boards. But, like, the first time I experienced it was, I remember seeing a post from Ben Skinner.
Yeah.
And it was about, he broke it down as to how much it cost him, like, personally, to go and compete around the world just to stay on the tour and everything else. And I didn't know any of that went on in my head. I just assumed the sponsors paid hands down for everything. And that's so far off the case.
It is.
It's such a shame, because what a talent.
Yeah, you were saying earlier, like, when you compete, you're always at a loss.
Oh, it's every single contest.
Really?
Like, I mean, I'm not at a loss, because like, I dedicate my whole life to it, but like, I don't have any savings.
No,
really.
like, sorry, financially at a loss.
No, but like I'm paying because I love to do it. Like, I go to a contest. I'd say every QS I do, and like, it's pretty hard because you go out to these QSs and often you just lose first heat. You can't control what you do, so it's probably like every QS is probably about $1,500. Like, to be honest, and I don't have anyone giving me $1,500 to go do them. So it's me working and like funding it myself because I love it. But yeah, it's not like, I think the social media plays a big part in showing people this amazing life, and it's like, well, it's not. No one's paid for this life for us, at least for myself and my friend Patrick and a few of the boys I know.
I think people think they have that thing if they see like a pro surfer and they think, you get free stuff off all the companies.
Exactly. Yeah.
You get paid to
Yeah,
fly
yeah.
around the world and see all
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
great places. You win prize money. Oh, that's got to be the life. And the reality is,
On the
it's
tools on a
fucking
Tuesday.
nothing
It's
like
hard.
that.
Yeah, for some of the boys, it is like, especially from other countries, and like if you get a really like proper prodigy, they will get that funding. And I had friends when I was younger that were paid, you know, and I wasn't, but I wasn't good, was I? But for a lot of those pro surfers, that maybe you see at your local beach and you think, oh, what a dick or whatever. It's like it's actually really hard. Like it's quite hard to like fund it yourself and stuff. So
Yeah, I think that's something, but I think that's something in like what you were saying about the training then in all walks of life, because like you being in the army, really fit, and like you said, even when you started out in training, I thought I was fucking super fit and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I saw a huge
Fuck
difference. Yeah.
me, you were
Saw a
like
massive
Jesus.
difference,
Yeah, I think that's through like you only know what you're in, and you know, so like everybody just looking from the outside is like, that looks amazing.
of course.
That looks amazing. You got to be this. You got to be that. And like, it's not. It's like saying earlier, like, you know, scratch the surface a little bit. You said earlier, and you realise everyone's got their own shit they're
Absolutely.
dealing with.
Yes,
like,
yeah.
yeah,
True,
100%. Yeah.
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 It's not all like high life all the time.
No,
do you know what I
not
mean?
at all.
Like,
No.
So on that note, what is the high life of it? What's, like you said about some of the bad bits, you know, some of the stuff. What's the good? What's the advantages of it?
I mean, like, it's pretty amazing. Like, I never like play it down because I love it. So you get to travel to all these amazing. Well, I pay for myself to travel to all these amazing places.
yeah.
Like, you do get companies who do want to back you. Some amazing companies, and you get free stuff or whatever it is. And you get people who want to make you really fit and strong. So that's good. But yeah, I don't know. I think social media is like the best parts. So if you just look at my Instagram, there you go. That's the high life.
Yeah.
Because all the other shit I do isn't as nice as that, I guess.
So I mean, like
No.
some questions we normally ask is like all the places you've surfed. If you could just pick one of them for the rest of your life, that was it. You could just surf there. Where is it going to be?
Oh, yeah, that's a really hard.
The boar.
Yeah, 7 ball. Yeah, there we go. Once a month.
I'm probably going to say the Wave Garden, guaranteed every day.
Probably for me, I've been really like fortunate to travel lots of places. It'd probably be lower trestles. So I'm just thinking, right, rest of my life, what wave am I not going to get bored of? So you can go left and right there. You could, on the best day, probably get a little barrel. And it's a really long, perfect wave. Maybe without the crowd, but that kind of wave is like, to me, is all. Like, I actually get the most satisfaction because we surf it all the time. Like, I always say to people, like, if you surf a 2-foot wave, as good as you could possibly surf it, that feeling of like, you know, you link a wave together and you kick off, you go, that was
No
I surfed
idea.
that.
No, I don't know idea.
Well, imagine.
Yeah, it feels amazing. Now that I'm imagining.
Even when I main surf it, I fuck it up. See what I mean?
You picture yourself falling.
But I'm consistent though.
Consistently shit.
Yeah. So it
You've
doesn't take a big
answered
wave.
that in such a different way to anybody I've heard answer that question before.
Yeah.
Because normally,
Have I done it wrong?
no. Normally, what I've heard is that I would just go to the wave where I've had my best waves in the
Yeah.
past. You've
Oh,
actually
okay.
put some thought into
No,
why
I-
you would surf
yeah.
that.
I think
like,
about a lot of shit.
Like someone answered it before as well. Like if you're going to surf that wave, you've also got to think you've got to live at that place as well. So
Right,
if the wave's
okay,
great,
yeah.
and the place is shit.
So now you're like,
yeah,
you're
true.
fucked.
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
stuck
yeah.
in the bore.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think you answered that question when you were on, did you?
What?
About
where
what-
would I say?
yeah.
No, he waffled about technical stuff about muscles and stuff,
Oh
and
my
I didn't
God.
understand
Uh,
it.
So
Yeah.
it's only a few.
I reckon.
Well,
no, I
you
just
pretty much live
link
there.
it back to like the best wave I feel I've ever surfed, and probably in hindsight it probably looks shit, but
Yeah, but it's relative to you,
was
so that's an
Fistral.
amazing wave.
Like,
yeah.
yeah, I've not been there in ages, so maybe I'm like romanticising it, but Fistral was awesome. The last time I went, 15 years ago. But
So how long it's been?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, because I came out of it like I could have gone pro, mate. Totally.
I could have been a baller.
And then I stopped.
If I was
Moved up to
7 foot tall.
Manchester. I'm not going to go through that again, but like, yeah, probably Fistral. I mean, I've surfed Tenerife. That was quite good.
Yeah, surf Tenerife.
That was quite good. So yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Fistral. Nice answer, mate.
Yeah,
But equally when it's not as busy
particularly-
though.
It's not quite the bore though, is it?
it's not the
I
bore.
don't-
I have
I've
done
no
the bore.
idea.
I've done the bore in the night, and it's fucking terrifying
Yeah.
because you can't see it coming. You just hear like rustles, and then like oil cans and shit banging against the bank. And you're on it for like, well, I was on it for like 5 seconds, fell off, drive further up, and do the same thing again. But
Yeah.
Did you say you had a horrendous experience in your first time surfing that?
Yeah, I surfed the board. I was young. I was like 15 probably, and
And have you still got that board?
no. So interesting story. I went with a guy who owns a surf shop by me, and he had done it before on a giant sup, and the locals fucking hated him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did it on giant sup, and like a giant sup just bowled out. There was
Cleaned up,
load of them
I
on
imagine,
it.
yeah.
So they weren't happy. So I did it on one of his longboards, and I took off. I was like, I had a GoPro in my mouth. I got the footage. I was like, oh, that's amazing. And these two old blokes just like cut me off as I went back. And then I came down and they went, oh, you're still here? I was like, yeah.
They wanted you off.
I fell off, but yeah, I was like, oh, it's a bit localised.
You can go for miles, can't you? And
Yeah.
you have to
It is
plan where you're
incredible.
going to kick off.
Have you done it, Pete?
No, I'm done. We've spoken to a few people that have done it.
It's cool.
And like
It is cool.
Pete Abel, who runs King's Surf School in Morgan Porth, he's done it a load of times, and he was saying like some of the places you get on it, you can be on it for like 5-6 miles or something
That's
like that.
insane.
Like,
That's ridiculous. That's a leg burner. You'd
Muddy
have to sit
Brothers, that's
down.
what they're called, isn't it? The Muddy Brothers.
yeah, Muddy Brothers around there. Yeah,
What an experience, though. I'm going
Yeah.
to tick off, eh?
yeah. So, and then often there's another one, worst wipeout.
Do you know what? I think actually my worst wipeout, I had duck diving. It wasn't actually like falling off a wave. I find I can kind of fall off and then just like if you dive down, when you fall, like dive, you kind of know-ish when you're going to fall. You kind of, sometimes you don't, but sometimes you get a feeling. It's like dive down. But I was duck diving. It was actually in California at Uppers. I remember it because like I just duck dove and it was like I'd caught the wave underwater and I was under for what felt like ages. It was probably like 5 seconds, but I hadn't taken a breath and I was just under for ages. So weird one, but probably just duck diving at like 2 foot upper trestles. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a bad wipeout story. That's as cool as it gets to me.
See, this is why he still loves it so much. Not got a bad wipeout story.
Well, yeah.
Once you get one, you're like, yeah, I used to love surfing.
Oh, actually, I did. I broke my rib. I know I broke it. The X-ray said I didn't break it, but I broke it. I'm telling you now. Basically, I was being a pussy. But I did an air. I tried an air, and I landed, and the point of my board somehow I landed with my rib onto the point of my board in the air. I still got like the little lump there. That's how I know I broke it. And I was like that. I can't breathe. Like. I didn't wasn't held underwater, but I landed on the point of my board. So that's probably a worse wipeout than duck diving.
When that happens when you do any others, that's why I try and avoid them. That reason alone.
I thought you avoid standing up on the board.
Try to. I feel like I can make surfing. We're so opposite. Like you make it look effortless, and even the easy stuff I make look really hard. It was so far apart.
You guys beat yourself up too much. You were doing well.
What was your worst
I'm
wipeout?
not. I think I'm great. My worst wipeout. I've got your. You know, like we've all got your classic selfish surfer mate. You know, like I've got a mate called Rob from back home, and I started getting into surfing, and I bought this like. Probably like 7'6" mal, I guess it was. Yeah. Maybe about 8 foot. And he was like, "Oh yeah, there's this really good spot near." Well, I don't actually know where it is, but it's somewhere around Port Isaac. Yeah. Right? You can beep it out. But he was like, "Let's go there." I was like, "Will it be all right, like me going there?" He's like, "Yeah, no, it's great, mate. Good." It was like 6 foot, and we like went through this wooded area, like down through these woods, down this valley, and we got in, and this like cove opened up, and it was amazing. And there were like those. I don't know. It was like 15 years ago. So like there were those 2 blonde twins that used to ride for Rip Curl. Fuck knows what they were called, but I remember them being in magazines and shit. I was like, this isn't probably suitable for me. Like I had this massive like fucking 8 foot bar of soap thing, you know, and paddled out like confident because I'd never been wiped out. Paddled out and then sort of turned around because I saw one come in and I started paddling for it. And like my mate Rob was paddling back out, and I like looked at him like, yeah, and he looked at me like, no, mate, and it just felt, I went over the falls,
slam
I
you,
just ragdolled, yeah. I just didn't know where the board was. That was the freakiest thing.
Fully
But
North Shore, that is. Not this one, Rick.
the most selfish. I got another story about Rob. Like we went to, I think we went to Putsborough, and we took my mate Sammy.
Yeah, it's a disaster straight away. You
Well,
finished the story there.
Took my mate Sammy, and like I saw him like walking in, and I was like, "What's going on?" And I came in, and he'd like basically the board had gone into his teeth and knocked his teeth out. I was like, "Knock my fucking tooth out!" I'm like, oh mate, that looks horrible. And like Rob came in, and Rob was like, Sammy was like, I think I need to go to the hospital, like, you know, get this sorted out. It was like, Rob was like, can you just give us like 3 more hours? So like he went in and sat in the car park at the top, and me and Rob continued to surf for 3 hours. I guess I've got to share responsibility. So he's just sat in the car with like jagged teeth bleeding into. That's so bad. Sorry, Sam. Well, he's not listening.
Rob, he's on the next show, so we can.
Yeah, what an absolute. He is a legend, Rob. I'm underselling him, but he's
what
selfish.
You said earlier about surfing's the only sport that you know of where you can just leave.
Oh yeah, like you can.
mid-conversation.
There's no other, like, even in any walk of life where you could just be with someone, and there's no like you're having a conversation, and there's no like. Just hold that thought. I'll be back in a minute. You just like mid-conversation, you just leave to catch a wave that came out of nowhere. That's so normal. I think there's more sports need
That'd
that.
be amazing if that was just an accepted social practice.
Totally. Yeah. Just bye.
Yeah.
That's how you choose your surf buddies, isn't it? It's like, you know, you go surfing and you're with someone who just talks a little bit too much, and then you're like, no, it's not you boys, because
fucking is.
there needs to be a boundary of like, okay, we're here to surf now, not just to chat. You know, all
when
the
you do
time.
the overemphasize looking at waves to make it, you know, like, no, I am
Right,
looking at this wave. Like, I want you to know I want that wave. Why are you not stopping your conversation?
So then you say you're surf coaching now as well.
Yeah, I've actually done that for since I was 18, so 4 or 5 years for my boss.
You said it's the most rewarding job.
It can be, you know what? It can be. It's got better actually. A lot of students coming down. You know, it's a nice scene,
especially when the surf's really good and you've just got to be there teaching all day. Yeah.
Yeah. So like teaching is actually it's quite good, and I actually really enjoy teaching like beginner lessons. Like we get a lot of like asks for intermediate, and I don't know why. I just get a bit like intimidated trying to, maybe not today, shouting at you to look at the wall.
That was a great moment.
But that's the reason. I just don't really know the advice to give.
No, that was good advice. That was good advice.
Of Alan that went viral of where he went into the wall.
Oh, when he went left and the right.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
I did hear that was you.
That, for the record, that wasn't me. But
I
must have worded that story incorrectly, because you messaged me, Logan messaged me like, mate, was that you? Like, and then Luke did, and I think,
you, though.
Sorry,
it did look like you as well.
just massive
I had
eyebrows.
the Wave message me asking if it was
you.
you.
Was it me? Yeah.
Is this guy
So was that T-Rex arms going into the wall? So it's all right. Logan said earlier, why do you call him T-Rex arms? They said you watch him on a surf skate. That's it. That's all you got
To
to
be
say.
fair, in your defence, and I'm not going to do this often, but
Okay.
I saw you in a surf skate earlier, and actually I was like, I hope I look like that.
You said to me, you look like.
You said you were two compliments.
You said to me that you look like one of those things that stands outside the car garage. Yeah,
That's true as well.
It's on bowls that I do that.
yeah.
I can't do bowls. Right.
on a ramp.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
You said, in fact, Logan, you said, did I hear you say when we walked down here that you'd never been on a surf skate?
Oh no, I've been on like a carver. Like my boss had a carver. So I used to like have a go. But when I was telling Alan earlier, telling you both about the ripstick.
Yeah.
When I was like younger, I had a rip. You know what a ripstick is?
I remember ripsticks.
You don't remember ripstick? They like had 2 wheels, and they were like you like wiggle around on them.
Yeah,
like
it was like a shopping
skateboard.
trolley.
Terrifying.
Yeah, they were the true surfs. They were the original like surf skates.
I don't
Yeah,
understand how you make them work.
So-
like,
because I couldn't get to the beach, so I was like, right, I'm gonna surf out in my street.
Yeah.
So I just used to like ripstick. I burned through the wheels. For Christmas I'd asked for new wheels for my ripstick, and that was like that's my surf skate experience. So Pete pointed out earlier my style's terrible. He was like, oh, you actually you want to do it like this? You do, because I was ripsticking along on your surf skate just then, and he did it properly.
One of the reasons I brought it up was because when you said I'd never really been on one, because I said to you, didn't I, Alan? I was like, look at his arms, look at the position of his arms. It was like you were surfing.
Oh yeah, but that's I just do it like a surfing because I'm rather than surf skating to surf.
Yeah, so it wasn't his arms were in the right sort of position, but it was the body movement.
It was just
sort of like style. It's just sort of like, and wiggle your bum. It's like, what are you doing, man?
I'm afraid of the dark. Life, oh life.
So we're gonna have to bleep all this out.
Everyone wants to hear a bit of Desiree on the radio.
It wasn't that good. They were picking up on the
surf trip.
Yeah, I'd rather be home eating toast.
Rather have a bit of toast.
Yeah, rather have a bit of toast. Best line in a song. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, so sorry, we were actually talking about your coaching. So before we all got sidetracked, this happens a lot.
Yes, I work at a surf school, and I quite like working at a surf school because it kind of. I remember when I first started, and we were teaching people just how to like catch waves, like on the belly. So like when you do a surf lesson, you don't just say, right, out the back then we'll start surfing. It's very like from the start. And I remember I asked my boss, I said, is this not just boring for them, just catching waves on their bellies? And he's like, no, they've never done it before, and it's the first feeling they're ever going to get. And it actually, every time I do a lesson, it like opens my eyes like, oh, this is like a totally new experience for these people. So it kind of makes me like frothing every time I do it. And I'm like, oh, okay, 10 more people know how to surf now, or whatever it is. So I get a lot out of the beginner stuff, and then I'm a bit intimidated to do intermediate stuff.
Do you know, I find that interesting about the so some of the surf schools I've worked for don't do, as ISA teach you to get people to catch a wave prone, trim left and right, get them out the water, then go through the pop-up, so they get that understanding of what it feels like to trim left and right before they stand up. And I always include that, but actually a lot of the surf schools I've worked for are like, don't do that, just get them straight in, get them in the water, maximise their time in the water. I'm sort of like, I would rather give them that feeling, because then they know what to expect.
100%. So like, I mean, I don't want to do a shameless plug, but I'm going to do a shameless plug because it's not shameless. My boss, he's like, treats me like I'm his son, you know, he's like massive reason why I'm in this position.
He's going to sell you.
Yeah.
I was just going to say we're going back to daddy issues.
But he's amazing. So like, Porco Surf, that's where I work, and like, it is, you can't, if you can't catch your own wave, you can't surf. You actually can't. You can't surf. So like a lot of surf schools will just pull people into waves. Like you're not learning anything. You just learn how to stand up on a wobbly thing, and then you'll try and surf yourself. You don't know how to read waves. You don't know what waves are a good wave or a bad wave. So in our lesson, you only need one lesson at our surf school, and then afterwards you can just practice. So we teach you the safety, how to catch your own waves, most importantly, and then how to stand up. Even if you don't get it on your first lesson, it's just practice. That's all it is practice. So I will big him up that that is the best way. He says, oh, maybe it isn't the best way, but it definitely is, because a lot of people leave surf schools, they want you back for more lessons.
Yeah, 100%.
But for us, we hire the boards out. So if people come back, they can just hire and practice. So we try and teach people actually how to surf. I think it's so important. I think, I think that about the wave, the problem is we get people who come from the wave, and it's a great facility. Don't get me wrong, but you don't get that ocean knowledge of reading a wave that's maybe coming in a bit sideways, or there's a bit of a chop through it, or it's going to double up and dump you.
No,
you don't get. You know, you need to learn how to catch a wave and read. But
I guess if somebody's out there on like what I'm now calling a setting 3 out of 5, or whatever that's just advanced, I think. If you're already there, I imagine you already surf. And you understand
100%.
The waves.
Yeah.
So I think it's
you don't like. So I think it was Pete again that was saying that.
You're Pete.
Pete from King Surf in Cornwall.
Person, mate.
It was I.
I think it was Pete from the UK Surf Show. It was I. What lizard? Your bandana, lizard tits.
Oh, amazing. Get called a lizard on my own podcast.
Sorry, where were you going?
I don't fucking know, to be honest. No, like saying about people that have surfed the wave and never surfed in the ocean, and how maybe they can surf, but it's not the same paddling out as it is in the ocean. Like you could be like fucking absolutely ripping in here, go in the ocean, and you won't even be able to make the paddle out.
That's true.
You've not got that
but I don't
fitness.
think people are here learning a complete skill set in surfing. Like if they're here, they've probably got their own board and equipment. If they're out on a set in 2, 3 and above,
there's no Rick Kane's kind of thing coming
through.
So
I think it's more of a refinement, and you know that it's just a convenient place to go surf. I suspect these people will still go in the sea. the pool is still wind affected. It still gets chopped. Yes, you don't have to read the wave, and actually the takeoff's not as hard as it seems. But I don't think it's creating a culture personally.
No, for sure. I don't think so.
No, I don't know. Not the culture, but I think it's if there's someone that's they've come to the wave to learn to surf, and they've learned to surf at the wave, and they've never been in the ocean. There's a big difference between surfing in the ocean and surfing at the wave. And
that person's got a lot of money if they're all just spending their whole time
the $2,000 a month guy.
I heard you say that. That's pretty mental.
You told me about that, or was that you?
I heard about it.
What was it?
I reckon it's an urban legend.
I think it is an urban legend. I think it is.
It's probably
quite nice.
It's probably Phil.
Just a dude that maybe it's Phil.
He's always here.
He is always here.
He lives here.
Or maybe it's like that's this. Maybe it's Sasha.
Yeah.
It's just Sasha, isn't it? But I think if you in athletic or any population really, like this is a place that you come to refine movement and technique. And you need to be presented with the conditions of the ocean and be able to read the ocean. But if you're able to, most people, if you give them, if you allow them to repeat movements and just practice movements enough, most people in a closed environment, most people are quite good at transferring that to an 100%. Open environment and like picking the right tool at the right time. It takes time, but really good athletes, you might teach them stuff in a very closed environment where you're controlling everything. And then present them with like an open field play or a wave that you have to read, and you know what to do at the right time.
I think it's best way like I've been able to like describe it. I've kind of heard it described is it's a golf range. So like you go there like just then I can try an air 12 times in a session.
That's it.
I can hit 12 balls.
Yeah.
But it's not like playing a course. You're not taking out different clubs. The speed of the green's different. Whatever wind conditions, every hole is different. So. Yeah. And it's not as fun. Hitting 100 balls on a golf range isn't as fun as playing 12 rounds, 12 holes.
Yeah.
I don't play golf, but that's what I mean. Like it's a totally different experience. You're with your friends out on the, whatever. So
I don't know. I think
it's a good training facility.
Dylan like mint at golf.
Yeah, he's really
like
good.
Plays off like 7.
Yeah, it's just easier, isn't it? Just have a drink around the course, and this is lifestyle.
I heard something about. I think it was on one of the skateboard podcasts I listened to. It might have been a 9 Club, or it might have even been like Huberman Lab or something like that. That when you try a trick in skateboarding, so this is going to transfer to something like a wave park. So, say you're trying a nollie heel flip or whatever you're trying, and you're trying it over and over and over again. If you stop and sit down, your brain is still processing that movement over and over again. So if you're trying an air here and you have 2 sessions, say you have a session, have an hour off, have another session, in that hour off that you've been... So you've tried the air for an hour, you have an hour off, that second hour you go back, you'll probably be more likely because your brain will have still...
Yeah.
So I think it was worked out something along the lines of when you try and do something, I'm paraphrasing this so it's not going to be exactly right. When you try and do something, the first time you try and do it, like every nervous cell in your body and every whatever it is just fires all at once, and then it goes, you do it again and it goes, right, I don't need that one, and it shuts them down. So as you stop and sit down, your brain's still processing that and working out what you do and don't need. So when you go back to it, that's why often if you're trying to do something and people say, oh, take a break from it, you take a break, you go back to it and you do it straight away.
Do you know, and that's exactly what we spoke about before when we said about, if you're surfing all the time, I have the best surfs when I haven't surfed for ages, because if I surf all the time, I'm aware of all my nuances and everything I'm doing wrong. But if I've not surfed for a few weeks and I get in the water, I know you're looking at me like a few weeks, you're like, I wish I could surf every few weeks. But like if I get in the water with no prerequisite of what I've been doing wrong, like I'm not thinking about anything, and I always surf so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that because your excitement level's back up
My
to full stop?
Level,
you're like, I want to wave, I want to wave!
Do not hear me. And when I was on before.
I heard you.
Oh my God.
I heard you. I was inside eating and I heard you.
Of course you bloody well.
That is definitely a thing. Like, obviously I haven't been putting electrodes on brains or anything, but anecdotally that is definitely a thing. Like if somebody's not getting something and they come back next session in a week or whatever,
Clear
they
mind.
tend and but I guess different people can comprehend and put into action things at different speeds. I've not articulated that very well at all, but like when you told me to turn my head, I knew what you meant.
It was funny.
But the body didn't follow.
Yeah,
I wish people could
You
see
did
it,
it, but yeah.
You know,
100%.
some people, like some athletes, probably if they'll respond to a cue, and then the next time they'll just do it.
Yeah.
So how do you approach, like, so on that sort of level, how do you approach someone like, when you go to train someone like Logan, who's already good at surfing, to put it
That doesn't
simply?
necessarily mean they'll be good in the gym.
Yeah, no, so that's what I mean. So how do you approach that? Because have you got a danger looking at that side of it, of going in and going, right, if I start changing too much too quickly on him, it could actually fuck his surfing up rather than... Do you know what I'm trying to say?
No, I do. I know what you mean. That's you basically do like a needs analysis at the start with anyone,
Yeah,
and it's the same process for anyone really. As long as you know what the kind of what the training needs of the sport are,
Yeah.
you obviously assess the athlete, how they move. You know, you can draw on data and things from various sources, and then put whoever through a movement screen. But in terms of like how you coach them, that just depends on the athlete, the person. You know, some people respond really well to getting given quite a lot of information.
Yeah.
Some people don't like that. Some people respond really well to a single word.
yeah,
You know, you might cue people in set just by saying one word, like heels or whatever it might be, and then maybe give them a bit more. Pow, pow. Give them a bit more context, like in between sets. It just that whole thing is emotional intelligence. That's how. Understanding how to communicate with different, like I communicate with you in the gym, Mitch,
Eye contact.
in a totally different, like just
We
really
know each
intense
other.
eye contact.
Yeah.
Oh, boys.
Totally different to how I would with Leighton, or totally different to someone at British Cycling or whatever it might be. That's just like an individual thing in terms of figuring out how they relate to things and what they, sort of how they can take information on board.
And your needs analysis.
Yeah.
What was Logan's needs?
Yeah, what were mine?
Well,
I want it to be massive.
So I guess if I take you two as different ends of the spectrum, no, you're like midway. Obviously, Logan is.
Well, that's not opposite ends of the spectrum, is it? I mean, I'm not an S&C.
You're an experienced amateur surfer who's a good
Professional amateur.
But
Well,
we
amateur
identified early
professional.
doors that your main limitation is paddle
Surfing.
strength and fitness and getting into waves and your pop up. So for you, that's not a limitation. You're getting more than enough load in terms of paddle fitness and all that sort of stuff. For you, it's how can we impact your ability to, display speed, power, and flow, and all this stuff, and powerful turns. And we looked at a few,
on the wave stuff, right?
we looked at a few surfers that you might want to
emulate and kind of be
emulate.
like,
I mean, it's not that simple. But so a lot of your stuff is around force generation and rate of force development in your lower body and rotational stuff. We do upper body, but yours is more about heavy pull-ups, for example, for getting into critical waves.
Yeah.
Yours is, there's a lot more. You've never done a bottle hop in your life, have you?
I was
You've
asking
done
what they were.
Shocking,
Like,
yeah.
You've
He's
not
never
done
done
bottle
it.
hop.
Imagine
because he
that.
doesn't
Yeah.
need to. He's surfing.
I don't
lot.
need to, mate.
you fucking need to.
Yeah. So it just depends. Just depends on.
How many people in group
And some of it's
messages do you get
subjective and
fucking
ana-
bottle off? How many people say fucking
Well,
I mean,
anyone that isn't in the water a shit ton
yeah,
does some form of. It depends on if they've got shoulder issues or whatever, but
yeah,
does some form of thing like that because that will make a difference to them.
yeah.
That will increase their wave count, and if that's the main goal, which it probably is for, 80%.
More waves makes you better. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just wave
yeah.
time.
So what do
Whereas
you
yours is execution on the wave, and how can we,
have you noticed the difference then, Logan, since you've been training with Alan?
No, it hasn't made a difference.
I regret.
Mate, it's fucking pretty phenomenal how
No, that's what I mean. Because so for everyone out there, you hear different things about different people training and different people doing stuff.
yeah.
But for someone that was at a level of surfing before, do you think? I know you don't have to say it just because he's here. 'cause
No,
he's
no, I
not
wouldn't.
bend anyway.
I wouldn't, and I wouldn't keep doing it. Like if I didn't think it was,
Yeah.
it's too hard for me to keep doing if I didn't think it was helping me.
Testament.
And you
So-
don't even have bottle ops.
Oh, I got some shit, and I bet the little you can leave a little review at the end of it or a little message. I'm just like, fuck you, I hate this. Who's ISO hold, whatever. But
they're gone now.
Mate, I'm
I-
sharpening up.
Savage.
Well, you're not. Yeah, you're not approaching a comp, so all that sort of fatigue based stuff is gone.
Well,
So
I may be doing bottle hops, but I did jump higher than him. Just soon. I didn't.
So Logue's got the first QS event of the season starts. It kicks off next week, right?
Yeah.
Pantin.
Oh, yeah,
so-
where are you off to?
Pantin. It's Galicia, North Spain.
España.
North Spain.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the focus of the last block for Logan has been around, we've accumulated volume, we've built a lot of strength, we've kind of increased his force production, ceiling, if you like. The last few weeks have been very much, how can we tap into that as quickly as possible? And we're still maintaining the grunt work, the strength work. But for example, today we put a little device on the trap bar so we could measure velocity and make sure that his intent was high. Always should be high.
Yeah.
But we were focusing on speed. And I mean today's session hopefully wasn't fatiguing.
No, it wasn't
supposed
that.
to be.
It was hard. It was hard-ish, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like a normal,
Yeah.
really hard one.
Whereas you're training through, and you're in basically a constant state of fatigue at the moment.
To be honest, I feel fine after my
not
sessions.
like you're not like fucked all the time.
Yeah.
But your session, you shouldn't be too fatigued. Like that's a bit of a myth in terms of I don't know, if you're looking at building muscle, you don't need to absolutely kill yourself.
Yeah.
In fact, the more tired you are, the less likely you are to recruit more muscle fibers.
So we're not building muscle in mine then, because I'm fucked at the end
not
of
getting your stats. And that's obviously bullshit as well. As if you can't, you're never going to get huge if you're training concurrently. If you're doing loads of surfing and doing the right sort of training in the gym, you're never going to get massive. That's
So
hopefully a myth that's dying out.
it's all right. I'm just going to change the subject absolutely completely now. So you
Good.
said the first competitions next week.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've had a few contests already, but the first, so that the QS system has been, you kind of do half years now.
Yeah.
So this is the start of the 2022-2023
So on
season.
what you were saying earlier, if you don't mind me asking,
No, yeah, go.
how much is it going to cost you to go to this one?
This is a slightly cheaper one, so it's Europe, so probably all in just over $1,000, I would have said.
It's fucking still ridiculous, isn't
Yeah.
it?
So
yeah.
It's hard for me because a lot of people go, oh, you're lucky, you go on holiday all the time. I'm like, yeah, but it's literally like anyone else. I still pay to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I make sure I have time off, and my boss, like I said, I can't speak highly enough. He sorts me out. But it's still expensive for me to go. The entry fee to a QS, it's a lower level. This is a 1,000, it's the lowest QS you can do.
Yeah.
Is 250 quid just to enter the contest. That's not accommodation. That's not a car. It's not my flights. It's not my food when I'm out there. It's just literally for me to be in the contest. I gotta foot that bill, which is fine because I want to. But it is expensive to do.
And that could be 20 minutes of surfing. And
Literally, yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
50% chance is that it will, because this top two in a heat go through.
Do you find it must be pretty common. Will you ignore a few contests and focus on a QS 3000, for example, and maybe do that to save some money and try and get more points?
Yeah, I try and do this is kind of my first full year where I've been kind of in a financial situation where I can do as many as I can. So this summer, obviously, I work at surf school. I have to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So Board Masters is the only other one I can do this summer. There's two others that I would have loved to do. They're higher stars.
Yeah.
Is
that 1,000?
They're 3,000. Board Masters are 1,000. Yeah. There's one in France that's a 3,000, and there's another 1,000 in France. I would kill to have time off to do it, but I literally can't. I can't not be at the surf school. So if I was fully didn't have to work, I'd go and do those.
Okay.
But it's a lot simpler now. To big credit to the WSL. It's for us European people, I don't have to think, oh, should I go to China to do a comp and then go to Oz, and then it's literally just do your European ones. If you do well in them, like my friend Pat, he did really well, so he's in South Africa in the Challenger Series. It's a really clear path, and it does make it a lot easier and cheaper, but it's still expensive. It's still it's not free.
I really do think I'd say 90% of the people out there, probably more like 98% of the people out there, would not have a clue of any of this you're saying. They just think pro surfer
that's it.
Gets
That's
it all done,
exactly
gets it all
why I
paid.
think it was a good idea to get a pro surfer on, because I know obviously the UK Surf Show, probably one of the reasons, not to blow smoke up your ass, but it's popular because I think it's relatable and you get relatable characters on and the odd legend.
Yeah, Mitch is hosting now. So.
Gone full circle.
Yeah, like just to get a
Haven't you heard
pro
the song,
on.
Alan? It's the UK Surf Show.
I'm surprised you've not posted a video of that.
Get the odd pro surfer on and just dispel the myth that, well, they work bloody hard. They work so hard to do what they want to do, and they're chasing this dream, and you know, they turn up every day. Like, probably one of the challenges for you is like kind of backing you off a bit. You know, you want to train and train and train, and you know they turn up. They train every day in some form or other. And like you say, there's the financial outlay to get out to these comps. Yeah. Support's coming slowly. Sorry, I keep hitting the...
I was going to say, there's going to be people there listening to this going, what the fuck's that noise? It's Alan banging the bloody table the whole way through.
So next time you see a pro in the water, don't think they're a knob.
For me, like
fair play, you're a legend.
It is like
the flag.
It is it is class. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, you go away, you just surf, do a heat, and it is amazing. But like, I always, for me and Pat, like, we are in a little microcosm because we're both Welsh, and I surf for them more than the other boys. Yeah. But like, we've always said, like, we weren't the best surfers when we were younger, and I don't want anyone to like think we're moaning about money or whatever. We weren't the best surfers. We were literally like, if you looked in the group of Welsh kids when we were younger, we were like two of the worst. You know, people used to laugh at us surfing. But I always said to him, I was like, bro, like, we're not talented surfing, but I think hard work is a talent. I think like a work ethic is quite a talent. Yeah. And like, I just am like pretty obsessed with like, I just want to like, if I don't make it, if I don't have this as my job or whatever, and it doesn't buy me a house, I just want to go, at least I tried. Yeah. Because like, it really like is a big gripe with me, and people go, I could have done this. I was like, well, you didn't though, did you?
Could have been a contender.
For sure. And I'd rather go, I just wasn't good enough, you know, but I tried my hardest, and like I had these amazing experiences. For me, like, I just want to like give it my absolute all. I've told my parents, as I said, we've kind of got an age where I'm set where like, okay, if I'm not made it then, I'll like just focus on whatever. But like, I just want to try, because I think there's not enough triers. Like, there's no harm in trying. Yeah. And I've just tried my whole life, and like, I've got to this point where I kind of thought I never would be. You know, I've won my national championship. I literally didn't make a final till I was 18. You know, like, it's ridiculous. Like, I shouldn't be in this. I'm from Penarth, Cardiff, like, you know. So I think if I just keep trying, hopefully I'll make it, because other people won't try. But I think that's a talent that like gets overlooked as a work ethic.
That's partly why, you know, you definitely come across as a humble bloke. You're not like, you know, somebody that would assume, as we spoke about before, like some arrogant surfer, because they're amazing. But the fact that you recognise that you didn't grow up, you don't have a natural ability. You've just got a humbled. Your work ethic clearly is born out of passion.
100%. Right? It's so fun. So surfing's the funnest thing you can do. Like, it's, I've my New Year's resolution was to record how many surfs I have. I just love surfing, and I think I'm just teetering over 250 this year.
Oh my god!
So far,
that's what I like about you and Pat as well, is you'll get in for like.
Oh, I just love it. Like, it's so fun. Like, it's just it's a
really
challenge.
Refreshing. That's really refreshing to see pros do that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So not be like, oh shit,
because I've got no other choice. I want to surf. I will go in for that mush.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, you sent me a video from outside your house before, going, should I get in that?
Oh mate, I think you must surf some absolute.
Horrendous. It's nice. Like, if I'm down in Cornwall or Devon or whatever and surfing, you know, really good waves consistently for a while, it's nice to come back and have that week where I'm like, I'm not getting in for that. But that fades pretty quick, and suddenly I'm in 1 foot slop, try to scratch on a 5.7. That's not, you know. Yeah. But you know, being in the water still, that's everything. That's everything. Yeah.
So, have you met anyone through all your competitions and anything that you've been proper starstruck by yet, and been like, oh fucking hell, that's oh my god.
Yeah, Mitch.
Apart from the Scottish narcissist,
waving frantically. Say me.
Hello.
I've been recognised a few times today.
Yeah. So I mean, my dream in life, biggest dream, is to see Kelly Slater surf live. I've never seen. I went to a CT in Australia. I never saw him. So if I saw Kelly, I think I would genuinely be like, oh my god, like probably cry. Yeah. But I did a run round at Snapper. I just went on my own, just like for a trip. And I did a walk around with Medina, and he spoke to me and like gave me the time of day, and that made like such an impact on me. And it kind of taught me to like just give everyone Like just talk to people.
Yeah.
Because
People are just
he
people.
doesn't know how much of an impact that made on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like just him giving me like 2 minutes of his time just to like speak to me, and he was like nice.
Do you know
So
what?
he was probably my biggest one.
Like Mitch just saying about you being like really humble and that is, I think that's one of the main traits of it, is all people who have been in positions of like, that are in a position where people will look up to them. So if they're competing or they're the best in the world or they're Kelly Slater or whoever, they give people the time of day just to speak to them, and it goes such a long way. And that little thing can make or break someone's...
Mate, it's,
not only make or break someone's day, it can make or break someone's life, you know?
Yeah.
It's just chatting to people. I mean, I was chatting to some guy that we've been chatting to for ages on the podcast today, and he was on the pier, and I was just chatting to him, and he was like telling me all stuff about his life and everything like that, and, you know, just sitting there chatting, and it's great just to chat to people
100%.
and like just be nice.
Yeah.
Be nice. Fucking nice to people. It doesn't take a lot of
Just don't be a
effort,
twat,
does it?
like. Yeah.
But
You're
I think
all
that's
right in that. You're just a little bit of a twat.
you know, going back to what we said before, though, I think you're still young. We're only a few years apart. These two are like way past that.
Dinosaurs, like
But,
T-Rex,
like,
innit?
T-Rex arms and lizard tits. But like you are at your age and your outlook on surfing and your ability, like you are such an ambassador for this sport, and what a shame it would be for you to lose that passion based on lack of support and the lack of, I can't fund doing this the rest of my life to get somewhere. But equally, tying that back into a facility like this, the Wave, I think the beauty of that is, and I think, you know, you probably agree, that, you know, the waves we get in the UK are probably one of the biggest holdbacks in pushing boundaries for surfers.
Definitely.
But somewhere like this, you can come and you can, like you said, you can do 20 airs in one session.
When there's no waves.
Doesn't matter. Exactly. It doesn't matter about reading the wave, because if you're doing the air, you're doing it in a wave in the sea, you would know you can do that on.
Yeah.
So you're just replicating what Alan would call, you know, the muscle memory of it. I think that's what will give us the ability to be on the same par as the rest of the world. As a performance centre, I think that's so important.
Yeah.
Is it quicker to get here now than to work?
It's a close sec. It's like as the bird flies, it's a lot further, but it's pretty quick to here. So it's about 15 minutes more than my journey to work, which is not too bad. Like, yeah.
Do you think that British surfers might have an advantage in the QS? Because sometimes the waves in the events that I've watched in the QS, the waves aren't great, are they? Sorry, I keep knocking the table.
We fucking do.
Sorry. Cut that out, mate.
I cut you out.
You cut it out.
That made my life easier if you just cut it out completely.
If anyone's cutting anyone here, I'm the Scottish one.
Do you think that helps? Because sometimes you're going to turn up to a competition, it'll be like...
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because like I do often hope for bad conditions. Like I remember at the Welsh, you came and supported me. I was like, I kind of hope it's small. You know, I hope it's like.
Is that when he had a hoodie and flip flops on?
Mate, it was windy as fuck.
What's your problem with that? What's your
windy,
problem with
warm.
hoodie
It
and
was
flip
proper-
flops?
I was-
Just
I was
right
like-
at the beach. Who wears a hoodie and flip
I was
flops?
basically
It's
naked.
cold.
compared
It
to
may not
other
be cold
people.
enough to need to put shoes on.
We were all
wearing
wrapped
like
up.
gilets
Yeah.
and all sorts, mate. I was basically naked.
I'm on your side. Doing this
Yeah.
You're Scottish.
Yeah.
You think it's bloody... You were in bloody Devon in January in bloody shorts and a t-shirt.
sunscreen
going, "Oh,
on, like,
lovely, yeah."
I remember being on exercise and I had to go for a brief. We were in the camp area and I was in civvies, like civilian clothing. I was wearing boardies, flip-flops, with snow on the ground. It was cold outside. I only had to walk across into this other room to do a brief. So I put like my North Face jacket on. North Face plug. I put my North Face jacket on, who I've totally sold out, by the way. It's just footballers' wives' clothing. And somebody said to me, I didn't know what it was at the time. I never heard it. But he looked at me, looked at my flip-flops, looked at my jacket and just went, "Are you an oxymoron?" And I was sort of like, I know what that means. Yes.
It's like people in camouflage jacket and high-vis jacket and camouflage trousers. Do you want to be seen or not, mate? What is it? Come on, make up your mind.
Do you know what? I reckon that's like one of the biggest myths in surfing, right? So like people say to me, because I surf obviously year round, they go, "Oh, you must be used to the cold." I honestly think I get a bigger pussy every year. I think I get colder and colder. I'm like, I need a warmer. I need more wetsuits so that I have a dry one. Like I hate the cold so much.
You say that. You were on a 3 mil today.
Yeah, true. I think you're just pushing.
Do you,
It's June, mate. It's July.
Yeah, but I'm still up north. It's cold up north. So.
just let them to have a conversation. I'll just shut them off and we'll carry on. Do you find it more difficult surfing in the winter then when it's really cold? Like thicker wetsuits, does that make a big difference to you surfing?
Definitely. Like the first session, we've all had it. You put your boots on, and you're like, oh my god, this is horrible. You put your gloves on, so it definitely makes a difference. And it's funny, as British surfers, we don't adjust our boards. So I remember watching Batchy Ben Gravy. He had a vlog and he weighed his winter gear, and it was a stone. Weighed a stone. 12 pounds. I think that's a stone.
14 pounds, 12 pounds,
14 pounds.
14 pounds is a stone, isn't it?
Oh fucking hell.
I mean, does it
You cut that out.
change the
Cut
story?
Right, it weighs a lot anyway, and we don't change our boards at all. And for me, like, my boards are very specific volume to my weight. So like that's the biggest thing for me is my equipment feels different. And then I'll surf through the winter and then I'll have a QS or a contest in a different country, and I go out there and I'm like, bloody hell, these waves are powerful, and my boards feel totally different and everything. So I think, like, obviously it'd be great if we could all change boards all the time. But I think that's the biggest thing I notice. Swimming through the winter, obviously it's colder, it's harder to get in, less light. But my equipment feels totally different. So working with Fourth is really good because we can refine that and stuff.
And what do you prefer between both? If you had the option of a complete set of both kit, what would you prefer, a winter board or a summer board, whatever that looks like differently?
Oh, summer, because you're in warmer.
Okay.
So who are your sponsors at the moment then?
So I'm really lucky to be supported by Animal. They're like kind of my main sponsor, so they support me with clothing, and they do help me to get to some of my contests as well, which is really great. Fourth, Luke Hart, Fourth Surfboards. I've come on board with his boards just organically. Like, I wouldn't even plug him really because he's not that kind of bloke at all. He never asked for like anything off me. But I went through a stage of just buying boards. Yeah, we've all done that, and I like started working with a shaper from the UK, and I was like, wow, I got it. I understand. The whole like I get a custom. I was like, oh, whatever. These boards, you get them out merit because it's the best. But working with a UK shaper like has changed my surfing experience for sure. And working with someone who listens to you, who actually listens to your feedback, or like, I want this, I want that, and he's really good. And then if we go from all like wetsuits, sea skins are amazing. Yeah, shameless plug. But I've got a few amazing companies that are really generous and support me. So yeah, quite lucky on that front.
Yeah, that's cool. So like that does help. That's something that obviously helps.
Do you know, it's a big boost mentally as well. I remember being like a kid and like having my first sticker, and like how much that kind of drives you on. You're like, someone believes in me. Like, someone like, I was rubbish. They sent me a sticker and a t-shirt, but that was like huge for me. So
that's still huge for me now.
For sure.
You've seen the back of my van.
That's just holding your van together.
Actually,
it's cool.
What you just said about someone believes in me, that's something that's really stuck out to me in the last 8 months. I've started working with more pro surfers. Is when you start helping them in the UK, because of the support thing, and it's down to a few good people basically. They like, it's almost like you've saved their life. Like,
I can't believe it.
They talk about you in like such high regard. And they say like, you've done more for me than you'll ever know, and all this like really nice stuff. And you're like, I've just written some programs for you. Like that really comes across.
I'm still waiting for my invoice off you, mate. I'm worried. I'm like,
massive.
No, but that goes a long way, Alan. Like the time you've given all of us, actually.
Mate,
I don't know.
You're not
that wasn't aimed at me. It was just more like...
No, but I'm aiming at you. I'm saying you are the example of exactly what Logan's saying. You believe, you're supporting him for his talent and giving him that, the thing we said before about you might not know what you need.
No, for sure.
But he does from that perspective, and the other people in the other parts of it. And actually the progression is working so far. I'm definitely seeing the benefits of doing your program, and not just in surfing. Like, I don't know if we've mentioned this before, but even like I said, I think I'm a fit bloke because I'm a job, and I run fast and everything else, but I'm not running anymore ever. Your program's got nothing to do with cardio. No. I'm running even faster now that I don't run based on the training I do. It's nuts, like the secondary effects. And I'm super grateful that you recognise that, that's something I can benefit from when we do that. There's more of that.
It's one of the biggest, like we were saying about little things like Medina talking to me, or like just having a chat to someone. Like, if I could urge like any company, like I just remember being a kid and like asking companies for stuff and like just getting a no. And
what
like,
about when someone gives you stickers?
oh mate,
stop
straight
it.
on the van.
How
First
good
stick
was
on the
that?
van.
I'll see them floating in the pool tomorrow morning.
Floating in there.
Shameless plug.
Legend.
They'll be floating in the
Could you
wave
just
tomorrow.
have cash though?
yeah. So
Yeah.
mate, yeah. No, this is awesome. Thank you, mate. That's awesome. But yeah, like I was saying, just someone believing in you, especially as a kid. You never know, like I was saying, me and Pat, like because of how bad we were, we never judge kids on like what they're like. It's about how much they like it, because there's some kids who are really good. They don't really like surfing. Their parents have forced them into it. So I just think if you own a company and you can give a kid a sticker and a t-shirt, you have no idea how massive that is. And the same with you, Alan. Like you don't know how big you helping me out, and then that support you've given me. I was a bit nervous today because I was like, I hope I live up to like the expectation, because I put in the effort, and I will always grasp that with two hands, you know.
I was saying to Mitch, like when I went down, obviously it was just a pleasure to go down to the Welsh Nationals, loved it, and you like gave me a shout out, and I was like, why is he doing that? Like I was really shocked by that, and it's not hard what I do. It's just adult PE. It's not hard.
Yeah, no, but
it's really not hard.
You say that.
It's hard for us.
Not for you.
None of us out of I'd say none of us knew what we were doing. Like, so you've got one.
Yeah, but why would you?
Right.
I wouldn't know how to paint a house.
Yeah, but no,
Like
what I'm saying, you're saying it's not hard, but you've got one pro surfer, one super fit army guy, one ultimate loving fighting machine, and all three of us didn't know what we needed to do in that training scenario to make us better and fitter. And you know, I'd say Mitch probably thought he had a great understanding of fitness and everything.
I thought I knew what I was doing ish, you know. But like,
I've come to the conclusion now in my life that I know nothing about nothing, and the older I get, the more I forget. So I've just given up. So, but you know, like you've taught all of us in this room, and a load of other people out there that I know of that have been in contact with the show, saying, "Oh my God, the stuff Alan's done, just little things, it seems like, have made such massive differences in people surfing." So
that's insane, mate.
Like you've got like full endorsement from 2 or 3 pro surfers that I've seen so far. The Scottish surfer,
narcissist.
And that's what you're in my phone as now.
Is that right? Yeah. I've got you as do not answer.
And the UK Surf Show fellows, like, you know, loads of people are just saying like the things you're doing have made such a difference in the surfing. So you're doing something right, and for you to say, yeah, it's not difficult what I do. There's like so much knowledge in that T-Rex sized brain of yours that like it's making a massive difference to a lot of people's lives, and like helping people in surfing, like you're saying, like how difficult it is, or how difficult it's been to try and get help and try and move forwards, and for someone to come along and just go,
here you are.
Actually, I know what you need to do. Come and try this. It's made a massive difference. So,
and also, you're not just pushing out a generic program. You everything you're doing is tailored. The time you must put into all of our individuals.
It does take
you know,
but I love it. You know, so it's just a pleasure to do it.
Do you love it?
Don't get me wrong.
Do you love it more than your wife and
sometimes
kids? Because you spend a lot of time on it. So
no, I love my wife and kids.
Can we stop piping Alan off now? Like?
No, hey, let me say one more. The thing I got from Alan, right, I asked him we were at the Welsh Nationals, and I was like, mate, do you not just get bored of talking about training? And he went, never. He was like, I never get bored of talking about it. And I was like, okay, the class. Like, I would definitely say with this guy.
You did hear his podcast, didn't you?
I listened to both episodes.
Well, I am aware that it's boring to other people.
No, it's not boring.
Do you know
It's
what?
not boring. It's class.
Do you know what? When we sat there and recorded it, he came round to my house. We sat there, me and Leighton, and we recorded it with him. And like,
who did?
We were like,
Monobro.
Yeah, and we were like, how long have we been recording for? And Alan's like, what's that? About an hour, 2 hours? I was like, 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Ridiculous. I mean,
you can't have too long of a podcast.
There's another guy called Ben who works with Pat.
Yeah.
And a few others. And
Does he at the
him
table?
and I. Sorry.
Does he keep hitting the table when he talks as well?
No, he just keeps his hands in his pockets.
Yeah.
He's very professional. But yeah, I mean, we often we talk quite a lot about various things with British surfing and stuff, and we always have an agenda when we get on the phone, and we never get round to it.
Yeah.
We just talk about training, which I'm aware is just probably so boring. Like if people walk past me, they'd be like, "Mate, you are an absolute nose." Like,
Yeah.
but you know, it's the passion.
That's
like,
amazing.
I know it's probably more just working with people.
Yeah.
Like the actual technical bit isn't hard. It's not hard.
Yeah.
The coaching bit is hard. You know, like working with people. That's the challenge.
Yeah.
But
Right,
it's
yeah.
awesome. I love it.
Here's a question for you, Logan. And I've said this to Alan a few times. You know, Alan, obviously, you grew up surfing, getting back into surfing massively. Like, you really understand the fundamentals of surfing, like from a lot of levels.
I'd say I'm ish, but I'm still. You know,
everyone's learning, aren't they?
Yeah.
But you're around high-level surfers a lot. I think it would be beneficial to Alan for a lot of reasons if he'd done a surf coach course. Because actually, you know, if he was here coaching you as an S&C, and I'm sure you've got your own surf coaches and stuff, but like what...
I don't actually.
Do you know what I mean?
Really
Like, I've got no doubt you could give positive feedback because what you've done is broken down technique in your role.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, what am I doing
It
wrong
was
then?
funny it was funny at the Welsh Nationals because like I felt myself like obviously I'd
You were
carried-
coaching me before
carried-
I
carried his board down to the water's edge, and I was like, mate,
Just
I
do
was
it
like,
better.
This is all going to be about wave selection. And I was like, I caught myself. I was like, what am I doing? Like, I haven't got a fucking clue. Like, but I do like to, like, I'll come and watch people like Joel Gray, Llewellyn Whitaker, like really good coaches, coach here at the Wave and various other spots, because that, to me, well, I just find it really interesting. But
That's
it
your
provides a lot of
porn, isn't it?
context. Love it, yeah. I love seeing good coaches.
He's in a corner like that.
Yeah,
Alan's in the corner.
I do want to do
Alan's
that.
in the corner
I
on
actually
coach
think-
hubs.
Broken his monobrow.
The first thing I want to do is the surf lifeguard course, not because I want to be
Yeah.
one, but I feel like now I've gotten back into surfing, I've got kids, I've sort of got, you know, an obligation to not die, you know, and I like the fact that you've got to cover that 400 metres in 7.5 minutes. That's quite a nice goal for me because ironically, I don't train that much myself, you know, so if I've got that, like I want to book into it in September
Yeah.
and try and crack that, and then hopefully by winter I'll be like, well,
Well, you
I
got
know
to
I'll
do
probably be
7
alright in
minutes.
most conditions.
400 metres swim.
7.5, 400 metres.
Let's fucking do that in 4.
I know you
I
could.
struggle.
Yeah, I at the moment I'm at like just under 8, so it should be fine. But it's just
I
a
don't
nice
know.
little target.
I think last recorded swimming I've got on anything was 100 metres. 100 lengths of the
Whoa,
pool,
flipping.
and that's an hour and 6 minutes. I
Oh,
think
you
it
do
was.
lengths. I normally just do depths, but it's normally like one.
And
one
just stay
depth.
What is it?
Stay there. Was half.
there. Yeah.
I'll go to the pool and like, you know, G myself up, do some kind of structured warm up because I'm a nerd. But then you'll get like a 60-year-old bloke or lady just knocking out lengths for fun.
Flying
I'm like,
past
how
you.
are you doing?
Oh,
that?
man.
And I'll get to 16 lengths, which is obviously 400 metres. Like unbelievable. Like I didn't stop.
Yeah.
I can get it, and there'll just be people like knocking out lengths for an hour.
It's technique though,
It's
isn't it?
sound-
it is
I've done
technique.
that before. I've gone in and swam for an hour,
I don't
and
get
there's
that.
been like an old lady
I get that.
when I've got in the pool swimming, and I
Yeah.
get out and she's still swimming. I go in, shower, get changed, come out the pool, and as I'm walking out, I can still see her, and she's still going as well. I think you've been in here all day, love. I reckon you were 15 when you came in. You're like 74 now. And you're
It's a
still
bit like
going.
when I saw Logan catch 2 waves whilst I was paddling back from a wave today. That actually happened. like,
I'll tell you who's
it was like a glitch in the Matrix because I saw you land in the same air in the same spot twice.
I'll tell you who's like sponge. His paddle power is
Yeah,
absolutely
fast.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
He like he didn't cut across. I'm not like dobbing him in. He like got into position. He covered like 10 meters in what felt like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
It's technique, mate. It's so technique. Like
Yeah,
just, you
yeah,
can
yeah.
watch a like 9-year-old girl paddle,
Yeah,
and they've got no strength. You know, like obviously they are lighter and body,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
strength to weight ratio or whatever. But like, it is 100%. Everything is different. Technique, positioning.
of course it is.
It's so much more
Yeah.
than just like you could put the fittest guy in the world,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they wouldn't even be able to lay on a surfboard. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
I think like a lot of things are like there's a technical aspect, and
I-
it comes down to like time in the water and stuff like that.
that's quite a common trait of an S&C coach. Well, maybe less. Like, is to overplay the role of S&C. Like, it's not going to win you championships.
It's a fundamental thing.
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
than-
It's something that you absolutely should be doing.
Yeah, 100%.
And
Yeah, it's the,
hopefully it will
it's
help-
the
it will help.
foundations of
Yeah.
what will make you.
Yeah.
But something that's so technical, like surfing, where you have to specialise quite early, it's very technical. That ultimately, that's what will win and lose you competitions.
Yeah,
What? I didn't do anything this time.
No, I know.
Oh,
Just put them on the.
Why would you cause
Mate,
a
stop
distraction?
making
We're trying to
noise.
record the podcast.
Oh,
here.
is it really?
This is your first time?
Unbelievable.
It's your first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the
How
thing
are you at
is,
swimming? Are you only good at swimming? Because quite a
I
lot.
don't blow my own horn, but I do like I get
Really?
quite
Should we just
competitive
go
when
home?
I'm swimming. Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm not very good,
Yeah.
but
You wanna
What
go
do you reckon
surf?
you could do that 400 in?
I know my best time.
What is it?
5:28.
Oh, for fuck's
Oh my
sake.
God.
I was board shorts,
That
no
is- that's
no
ridiculous.
swim cap,
I
and no
dread
technique. I just do
every
it, like,
year or every
That's
second year. I
ridiculous.
dread having to redo my swimming.
That is outrageous.
I'm ruined
I
at the end of it, but I
hate
do
it.
just like force
I,
myself.
I am not a swimmer. In fact, if I was drowning
I'm
in
actually
the sea
annoyed at that.
and I saw me coming to rescue me, I would be like,
Sorry, mate.
just
You'd
leave
be
it.
like,
I'd
I'm
leave
already
it.
dead.
I'm on my own. I'll take my chances.
Did you have to do that in yours, the 400?
Yeah, every 2 years I think you refresh now. And I remember going for swimming lessons before my first one because I was like, I use my arms, I don't use my legs to try and break down what I'm doing wrong.
Surfer technique, that is. isn't it?
Well, yeah, I
Kicking.
guess so. And she was like, "You're not using your legs." So
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
whole body's drooping
You just-
behind me.
Yeah.
All
The thing
arms.
is, a lot
But
of
you-
people make the mistake when they're swimming. They don't put their head down into the water. So
Right.
if your head's up,
Oh yeah, that's another
your
thing.
body's dragging behind you like that. So as soon as you put your head down, your whole body comes up like that, and you take half the drag out of your swimming.
Yeah,
So your
But-
time will
because you know as well,
increase.
you do what is it like 3 strokes for every one breath,
Yeah, and then breathe
trust.
to the
Like, I
side.
understand it. Turn your head to the side. Your face will create a bow wave, and there will be an air gap. And I could do that for like the first length and a half. And then I would get tired and panicky, go back to standard,
The old
and then I would
habits,
go.
yeah.
I would breathe every hand, every stroke.
If
Yeah.
I'm,
The technique's
if I'm
awful.
going like full gas, I'll do like every second. Or, yeah.
I also
Every
butterfly
yeah.
kick my legs
Yeah.
just so they're involved.
But it's like it is all technique, and like coming back to what you were saying about technique. I work at a surf school, so I see a lot of like the local guys who come down and they're good surfers. They don't surf much, and the common gripe is that they won't surf for ages. They'll be pumping. They'll go in and they'll have a really bad session.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's rubbish, whatever, and then they don't surf even longer. Then, and I think like bigging you up again, but like
Oh my
the
God.
best thing for like I was saying to Mitch earlier, I think your like S&C stuff would actually benefit someone who isn't as good of a surfer, because I'd still surf all right if I didn't do it his plan.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
sharpened me up and got me
Yeah,
better.
yeah,
but I
yeah,
think
yeah.
for like people who don't get in the water,
like
like
landlocked surfers, especially.
100,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
you're not
Yeah.
getting in, and then you're going down, you're frustrated, and you're thinking, why? You know what? I can surf fine. It's because you're not in the water. You haven't got that fitness. You go down and you expect to be as good as you were.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
No,
so
it's not.
I think like that stuff outside the water is actually more important for like just the average person. It's
I think you're right.
the biggest thing.
Do you get paid for airing endorsements of people?
I know, yeah, you
No.
got to
should.
cut that. Yeah, you should
No.
bleep that out. But it is true. Like,
People at
it's,
the end going, "Who's a good guy? Who's a really good guy?"
Yeah, it's like he's a great guy.
The UK Surf Show. We'll be right back.
But I mean, I think we've rambled on long enough.
No.
for, people,
Something I
think.
keep meaning to come back to. You said twice.
You haven't really bigged me up.
yeah.
No, wait, I've not. Everyone else has been picked up. I've
Yeah.
had nothing.
Oh.
Well, absolutely nothing. No, Logan,
I
you
bought you a
said
t-shirt,
you've said you did buy me a T-shirt, which I'm super thankful for. That's really cool. Thank you, Pete. No one else got a T-shirt just then. But you said twice you don't like or you're nervous about teaching intermediates. In what way?
I think I'm quite young. I'm only 22, and I sometimes think like maybe like older adults don't really like me like talking down to them. I don't know. I just have been nervous that maybe I
Yeah.
don't know as much as I think I know.
You have to remember,
You
to
look like
them,
you've
you're
had a
an
hard life, though. So
Mate, I know. I'm
yeah.
leather wallet. And I
to them, you're an expert.
Yeah.
You have to remember
I
that.
know,
like,
yeah.
They've come into the ocean, not
think
knowing
there's-
much or not.
I just feel
knowing-
like a twat telling me what to do.
I think you've got that thing though, because you've got that like demeanor, like attitude about you of like you're not a fucking prick, basically. Like I met you
Thank you.
like first time I met you today, and you were just like, all right, how's it going? Like just chatting like normal. If you come in and go like, yeah, I'm a pro surfer, this is what you do, right. People are
Yeah.
going to be like, you're a fucking twat,
yeah,
mate. They've
yeah,
got no
for
interest.
sure, 100%.
You come across nice, you're friendly, you're chatty. I don't think you're going to have that trouble, even if you're giving pointers to someone who's another pro. If you're out in the water and you see it and you go, actually, it looks like if you just do that a little bit more.
Definitely. But what I will say is like, just because someone's a good surfer doesn't always mean they'll be like the best coaches in the world. They're not the best surfers.
Yeah.
I think I've got some traits that maybe because I wasn't a very good surfer before and I've just worked really hard. I think people who are just talented, they're actually not very good at coaching you because they can just do it.
Yeah.
No, I agree with it. You don't have to be good at doing something.
100%.
And I always use Simon Cowell. We've said this before. Like Simon Cowell can't sing, but he's the coach everyone
100%,
wants. Like it doesn't mean just because you can't do it doesn't mean you can't understand what it takes to do that.
Yeah.
And have that persona that. That articulation to get across what you need to be doing.
I love the fact that you use Simon Cowell as an example. It's a good one. No, it's a good one. It's just
I can use it in like skateboarding as well because in skateboarding, when one of my mates is trying to do a trick, I can see what they're doing wrong.
Yeah.
I can't fucking do it myself, but I can see, like, move your shoulder that way, do that.
Yeah.
And,
What
like,
the fuck has got to do with Simon Cowell?
If I'm ever at the top of a ramp, I want to be like, what would Simon Cowell do?
Tony Hawk's over there giving you advice. You're like, oh, fuck.
Tony Hawk, fuck off, Tony Cowell.
Even have a piece of toast. Life, life.
Right, do you want to... I'll let all of you do it. Go around and tell everyone where you can find you online and where they can get in contact with you and hassle you. And, and send you money to pay. Send you some money to pay for your flights.
At Logan Nicol is just my name, Nicol.
Is that on
Instagram and then Facebook? If you want to find me, it's just Logan Nicol Surfer. But yeah, I hope no one thinks that I've just moaned this podcast. And just said,
no. Like, it's like
because I'm not asking for anything. Like I'd do this if I wasn't, if there's no money in it, because there isn't that much money, I'd just do it. So I don't want anyone to think I'm fucking, I'm not getting any money.
That sounded like we paying you then. You got fucking no chance.
Yeah, but when you weren't moaning, you were just bigging him up. So you weren't always moaning. So it's definitely a 50-50.
What about yourself? Where were you on the Instagram?
I'm adrenaline.athlete.
Really catchy that is, mate.
Yeah.
The dot is annoying.
The what dot? DOT, is it?
The what
dot?
Adrenaline DOT.
No, adrenaline and then an actual dot and then athlete and then website adrenalineathlete.com.
Yeah. AA for short.
Well, not anything. Probably training related. Ask me stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, just not.
3 o'clock in the morning, we're going to get a taxi back to Cardiff.
And I don't think you've ever mentioned what you are.
Do you know
online.
what? Pete, I don't actually think I've ever taken the opportunity to try and even plug my Instagram or social media on here. And I'm going to reserve and keep that because I think it would be ridiculous to tell people to go on Instagram and find Scottish Surfer.
Yeah.
Not going to be that shameless. And the fact I've just started a YouTube channel and I've got some really nice content on there that I'd love some support.
That deserves a bit of credit.
The
video stuff.
Yeah,
like
not just the video stuff. The video stuff that then Red Bull then contacted you and said, "Hey, Scottish Surfer, can we use your content?"
I mean, don't tell people what it's about. Just let them go find it.
Yeah,
and like and subscribe.
Yeah,
yeah.
So yeah, I'm enjoying doing it. To be fair, it's I've come a long way, I think, from that first ridiculous isolation creation video when I tried to surf. I strapped a shortboard foamy to a longboard skateboard in March during the first lockdown and try to surf down a slipway into the sea in my pink famous Hurleys, my boardies. It's come a long way since that.
In the first lockdown when everyone went proper nuts.
Well, everyone became a personal trainer. Started a clothing business.
Or a Beer 52 subscription.
Or what?
Beer 52? Did you know? Oh, man.
No, I missed that one.
They put everyone was on it. They used to get 8 nice beers every month.
Right. Like a sample thing.
Yeah, and you couldn't cancel it. It was a fucking nightmare to cancel. Spent a fortune on beers, but it was nice. But
can I just say thank you to you as well for having me on? Because this means a lot.
Problem.
And this is what we need. It's something that is going to obviously push my own surfing and help me out. So massive thanks. Thank you so much.
No problem. It's been my pleasure.
That was pretty friendly, wasn't it?
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Fuck off, you lot.
How do we do a close down when everyone's sat in the room?
I don't know. Just say, we didn't mention any of the discount codes which we normally do, which are North Core and Surface, but they're the same as the last episode. So go and listen to them.
Yeah, it's a good place to find it. You'll find them discount codes on my social media.
No, I'll do them quickly because the discount code for North Core is SS Podcast 15, and that will get you 15% off anything you order from North Core. And the Surface, spelled SRFACE, Surface wetsuits, get 10% off and use the discount code the UK Surf Show 10, all capitals. No spaces.
And
I should mention Surf Gripped as well, because you mentioned him before.
Scottish 10.
Yeah, use that one for him.
Do you know
But
what
he sent me 4 boxes of it to put on my new longboard. I haven't got my new longboard yet.
okay.
Because Dom's fucking gone on holiday.
But you put them on the floor and just stand on them anyway. Just see what they're all about.
No.
Do you know what? Today,
You put them in his bath.
I used my boards, my
put them on my
J-Surf board,
bike
the little
seat.
cool one, with my surf gripped on it for the first time, bootless.
Yeah.
And actually, I was like, because I've obviously bigged them up a lot because I genuinely liked them. So there was a bit of I hope they still work bare feet, because it's very different, isn't it? There's a lot of grip on a boot. Oh man, and at no point today did it then, after that initial thought when I got in the water, I never thought about my feet on the board once, which tells me that is
crazy,
perfect. That is working really well.
I like it. I like the surf grips.
I'm actually, I guess I'll do a shameless plug while I'm here, which means I need to pull my finger out depending on when this goes out.
Yeah.
I'll be doing a giveaway with Surf Grip for some giveaway stuff. Details to follow.
Well, we might be doing that as well.
Oh, is that so?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Pissed on your fire for a second there, didn't it?
Did. And also, if you mention Scottish Surfer at the Cheesy Toast Shack, I'm sure you'll get some sort of discount, and I can't promise that on their behalf. But I just want to get Cheesy Toast at Shack in again. I've not mentioned it this time.
Cheesy tasty. I'm looking forward to going up to
Amazing. You
Cheesy
surfed in
Taste
Scotland much?
Huh?
You surfed in Scotland?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
I presume you just go right up north.
Kind of. I mean, we sometimes take the East Coast way.
Oh, nice.
I'd been there once on the way up. We had to go to Aberdeen's East Coast there.
Yeah.
So by St Andrews, there's this place called the Cheese.
Ensign.
I heard he's rescued.
Cheese
He saved the guy's
Toasty
life.
Shack,
It was
right?
amazing. And then he got toasted after. Nah, it was very impressive.
So there's this place, and it's called the Cheese Toasty Shack, and they do amazing cheese toasties.
Have you had one?
No.
Ah, I just know about it.
Every time they send them down the post, they get cold.
Yeah.
He's all the loads.
Mouldy by the time they get it.
You still eat it though.
Yeah. So I think that's the most plugs the Cheese Toasty Shack has ever
I
had.
thought I have to get that.
Yeah.
as well.
Right, anybody else got anything they want to plug by?
Adrenaline.athlete.
Yeah.
That's a nice jumper you're wearing now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got 30% off. Come and get it. 30% off annual membership to Strong Surf Club.
What's Strong Surf Club?
It's rebranded
Strong
Landlocked
people
Surfer.
only.
Newer, more improved, just basically a different name.
I actually can't believe
Exactly
you're
the same
offering any discount, because your prices are like so cheap anyway.
Guilty.
Do you want to
but
take it
give
back?
the people what they want.
What's Strong
30%
Surf
off
Club?
annual membership.
What's
That's
Strong
home
Surf
30
Club?
for the home one, gym 30 for the gym one.
What's Strong Surf Club?
That's what Landlocked Surfer was, just to confuse people. So it's like a monthly membership, and you get daily workouts
right, cool.
to your
Yeah,
phone.
no problem.
For surfing.
Or 1-to-1, but I don't do discount on that.
Why have you
'cause it
changed the
takes
name?
time.
I thought it was
Copyrights?
Adrenaline Athlete.
Oh, yeah, I'm adrenaline.athlete, and then I've got a membership program
Right.
where you get daily surf-specific, I hate to use that phrase, but, surf-orientated training to your
Do
phone.
you train on wobbly stuff?
No train. That's got its place. That's got its place.
No, it does, but I know how you feel about it.
It's just when it's used, in my view, incorrectly, and
But I
many
think
will agree with me.
that puts people off wanting to do surf-specific strength. I used to hate it.
Yeah.
I hate going into a gym, standing on a Bosu board.
I know.
I was like,
Yeah.
I just want to do squats or whatever.
Yeah.
I know it's boring, but I actually way prefer the way you do it, because I just want to. Yeah, you
it's
don't need
actually
to do
improving you.
100%, yeah, for sure.
Like there's balance trainer stuff.
Alan, so special. Alan, so green.
Yeah. It's got its
I
place
know,
for
I
sure.
feel
It's
like
got
it's
its place for
punching
sure.
in
And if you, the other thing is, let's not over. If you want to put stuff into a program that people enjoy doing, that's got value. If you want to do that, you don't necessarily have to be like, there has to be a specific adaptation.
Yeah.
If someone enjoys doing bench, and I don't think they necessarily need it, I might put it in, or
Yeah.
like balance trainer stuff at the end or whatever.
Yeah.
That has value as well. But
No, I didn't mean to start you off again. I'm
Sorry.
to apologise.
You wrapped it up a second.
but 30% off annual memberships. Just give me a shout.
You should
and
put little messages at the end of the programme on it. It'd be nice to finish off with a nice, like
Well,
a
like
fortune cookie
a
type.
personal message.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be a nice touch.
I'll take it on board.
like money's on the table or something like that. Yeah.
So yeah.
So cool. Do you want to go outside, ask any of the people out there if they've got anything they want to plug? Yeah.
Wonder if we'll get a free
It's kicking
session
off,
back
isn't
at the
it?
Wave, because we've
Yeah.
mentioned them in a
Yeah.
positive light so much during
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Well, lovely.
If anyone wants animal stuff, this is a very shameless plug. I know you guys haven't got a code, so it's Logan 10.
There you go.
Going to give you a bit of money off if you want to
Happy
buy
days.
a t-shirt or whatever. So
Nice.
or
I've
Roby.
got animal stuff now. I'm technically an influencer now.
Well, you've not until you've done the unboxing video.
Oh right,
And
I'm
a
wearing
thank
it.
you.
man.
Actually,
Yeah, but they've not seen that, have they?
They won't see that.
They've not seen
Don't
that yet.
break the illusion. But yeah.
Anyway,
Awesome.
Animal. Well, we're on about it. No, but
Well, mate.
I think a lot of people wouldn't realise how big a brand Animal actually is.
I said this.
And like that's a brand in the States.
know.
People use Animal, and I was gutted when Animal closed down. I think a year and a half ago, or maybe 2 years ago, whenever it was. And then when they came back, I think Mountain Warehouse bought them out and opened it back up. Like I think that's awesome to have such a UK strong surf brand back in the scene. I think it's awesome.
When you told me, when I was getting like free animal shit, which I'm very happy about, I told my wife and I told my best mate, like, oh yeah, I'm getting some free stuff. Like, I don't know if you might have heard of Animal. They were like, yeah, obviously I've heard of Animal. So yeah, you do forget that it's quite, back in the day as well, it was quite a prominent brand.
Yeah, it's a
They
huge
sponsored
stuff.
Andy
back in
Irons.
Devon.
Andy Irons they sponsored, which is pretty. I remember seeing that.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool.
that's right. Man, that documentary's a tearjerker, isn't it? Let's not get onto that.
No, start crying.
Oh man. Oh, that's a shit note to end on, isn't it?
yeah, well done.
Live, oh live.
I'd rather have a piece of toast.
Yeah.
That'll do. I'm ending it
Yeah.
on that.
Right,
Just gonna
okay.
You're not
end
going to
it
do
on
your normal close down?
I am going to do my normal
okay.
close down.
Right,
So I don't know what I normally say because it's different with 4 people just sat on my normal close
Oh, we
down.
won't stare at you.
We normally, yeah. So I think we've done everything we need to do. So I'm just going to
Do you
say,
want to do your Jerry Springer thing?
what? No, I don't want to do
You
that.
want
I'm
to
not
do it.
doing
You
it
still
anymore.
want to
Yeah.
do it.
You
Come on,
want
just
me
do
to
it.
do
We
it?
won't. We
Yeah, I
will
wanna-
look
I wanna-
away.
What is this?
Okay, so, well, thanks for listening. And don't forget,
What?
take care of yourself and each other.
Bye.
Oh, nice.